This is a review for Fantastic Four: The End. I've had this for a while, but I reread it because I've been on kind of a Fantastic Four kick since the end of the 3 arc in the main series, and I've had the hardcovers, and I'm trying to get all the Hickman run right now. But I did think this was appropriate. For those of you who aren't aware of what these are, the End books are essentially it's a kind of brand they use. They come out kind of sporadically. I don't think one's come out in a while. I think the last one was Iron Man. Though this is essentially they've told stories like this before, similar stuff like Spider-Man Reigns the same, Super Surfer Requiem, where it's their last story. And this isn't canon. This takes place in a future. So it's not canon, so you don't have to worry about continuity ruining it. First thing I want to mention is the art's freaking gorgeous. Alan Davis wrote and drew this, and I could just look at his art all day. So I got that out of the way. Some things about it I want to bring up that really kind of, I don't want to say turn me off, but I know could turn other people off. There is a lot of subplots, a lot of plot threads kind of going around, which kind of happens because you have the 4 characters, because now I'm going to get to spoiler territory here, but there was this big battle of a big mutant war of sorts led by Dr. Doom, who kind of, because of mad science, he became more machine than man, and because of it, it resulted in Frank and Valera, the Richards children, to die. And because of this, they decide to disband and kind of go on their own. Johnny's a member of the Avengers. Ben lives with Alicia Masters, and they have children on Mars. Yes, they freaking live on Mars. Reed is kind of still going through therapy sessions on an asteroid base. And and Sue's just kind of exploring stuff with Namor underwater on a big expedition. Which pushes that whole Namor-Sue thing. They always push that. Just a lot of... You get to see them all kind of go... show how the death of the children really affects them, because that's the thing that disbands them. And how they're kind of dealing with it. Reed's the one, I think, taking it the hardest, though obviously Sue's taking it hard. Ben and Johnny, though, are showing they have pain from it, are not totally in dismay or falling apart over it. The thing about this story is it's a good story, besides a lot of the plot threads. The main problem is there's so many, it's kind of confusing. But it's a big, epic story, just like the Fantastic Four should be, which is kind of a complaint people have with the movie, or not, or, lesser stories, is it's not big or crazy or sciencey enough, and this is everything. But it also kind of takes advantage of just being... I don't want to say it makes stuff up. A good chunk of it makes sense, but this does that thing of stories that take place in the future where they just... Because sometimes you watch it going, they're just making crap up as they go. For example, Spider-Man and Wasp and Hank Pym have children, and the children decide to become the Bug Squad. That just seems random and ridiculous. But another thing that was cool, and it's not really explored too much, is Tony has downloaded his mind into the armor, so he's literally just Iron Man. But they don't explore it. Thing is, they have a lot of these cool ideas, and they even show this, but they don't explore them too much, because it's not a book featuring them. It's a book about the Fantastic Four, which is fine, but you don't just throw kind of cool stuff like that in and not address it. Another thing is, and this kind of goes against its title, it's not really an end. In fact, the last image you see is Doom's still alive because you believe Doom's dead, fighting off Annihilus in the negative zone. But he survived, and he's killed Annihilus, and he rules the negative zone. So you do kind of feel like there's another story that could be told. I don't think it'll happen. I'd kind of love for it to happen, but this book's 4 years old now, so I kind of think having it happen it just doesn't seem relevant, especially with Johnny being dead and Johnny still being alive. I think it'd be really confusing, though they could just put it through Marvel Knights, but that's commonly where you put stuff that's not canon, so you could just kind of throw it anywhere. A thing about this, and it goes against its, another thing is, a lot of these stories tend to be really more grimmer and grittier and more have a apocalyptic world. It's not in an apocalyptic world stuff like what the Hulk and the Punisher ones did. It's not a apocalyptic setting, which is cool. Because not all of them have to follow this format. The story that's supposed to be the last story doesn't have to actually be them dying or anything, which no one dies in here. In fact, the kids come back at the end, and I know I'm spoiling stuff for you. But that's good because they kind of have through this really emotional problem, and you do love the fact that everything's kind of back to normal. They're happy in the end. But it's just that it's not underwhelming. The thing I'm really worried about is this doesn't get the kind of respect it really does deserve. This is a great story. I kind of get worried that no one will look at this as a great story. I don't want to push it in anything bigger. I don't want to say it's the Dark Knight Returns of Fantastic Four. But this is one of the few end stories that are good. Some of them aren't exactly great. The Punisher and the Hulk one I remember being awesome, so there's no worry about those sucking, but the main problem with some of these is they tend to kind of go on the sucky side. The main thing is it just kind of explores strange stuff that, quite honestly, they put in here to be all cool and be like, ooh, this could happen in the future. If they actually, wanted to be somewhat original and pull that stuff off in the future, that'd be cool. But no, it's a great Fantastic Four story, though. It's one of those things I do think if you just want to read a good story, a good Fantastic Four story, this is great. You need nothing other than the small background you have on the characters. I don't think this requires you to need a huge degree in Fantastic Four or Marvel knowledge, and I think that's why it's perfect for new readers. So I definitely suggest you guys check this out. It's you get it probably really cheap on Amazon if that's a problem. It's a really good book. I highly recommend it.